Welcome to Storytime. Get ready, navigate for quick wisdom of countless stories. Let's dive into the world of knowledge together and explore. Story: Little Reunions, written by Eileen Chang. Summary of the story Little Reunions, written by Eileen Chang. Eileen Chang's Little Reunions is an engaging story that takes place in Shanghai in the 1930s and focuses on Julie, a young lady from a troubled home. Her life is shaped by her parents' divorce, which sends her on a quest for identity and love. Julie travels a world full of passion, treachery, and the desire for connection through stormy relationships and cultural shifts. Against the backdrop of a China that is changing, the story skillfully connects themes of family, tradition, and personal development. The complexity of friendships and the pursuit of approval in a quickly changing world are shown by means of Julie's journey, capturing readers with Chang's excellent language and inspiring storyline. Eileen Chang effectively conveys the spirit of Shanghai in Little Reunions, a work which records the city's elections and cultural shift. The main character, Julie, symbolizes the dispute between the two. Her need for peace runs counter to the changing social mores, reflecting the disputes that exist inside China. Julie's relationships, which are rife with passion and deception, reflect the difficult times of the past, when people's own desires sometimes clashed with calls for help from society. Chang's story depicts Julie's life after getting divorced and examines the various facets of familial relationships. Her quest for love leads her into multiple partnerships, each of which has its fair share of ups and downs as well as happy moments. With all of the disorder, Julie's becomes a moving examination of durability, community, and the never-ending quest for personal calm in an ever-changing world. Chang offers a moving reflection on the battle between old and new, the challenges of individual autonomy in a society changing quickly, and the complex webs of relationships via Julie's viewpoint. The novel Little Reunions connects with readers well beyond its historical setting because of its explained account of Shanghai's social fabric and the emotional depth of its characters. Chapter 1: Fractured Beginnings. The story of Julie started in Broken Whisper in the 1930s, deep in the heart of the city of Shanghai, among the polished yet disturbed streets. She grew up tangled in the stormy waters of her parents' crumbling marriage, which was an array of broken promises and unspoken anger. Their divorce has an ongoing effect on her perceptions of love and security, throwing a long shadow over her early years. Her early recollections were a jumble of broken scenes, the ephemeral smiles of her mother, the distant presence of her father. However, among the broken pieces of a family, there lingered an ongoing feeling of desire, an ache for something solid and entire. Growing up, Julie was given the language of silence, the unsaid words that resonated across their empty house. Shanghai, with its busy streets and promises of change, provided the setting for Julie's broken early years. The city itself looked like her broken world, with its skyline presenting a jumble of goals and disappearing remains of long-gone customs, stuck between tradition and the call of technology. Julie took comfort in the corners of fleeting recollections and the company of her own solitary wanderings around the narrow alleys of the city during this stressful time. Every angle showed a piece of her puzzle, a hint at the person who she desperately wanted to know. But the answers kept fleeing her, flying just out of reach and teasing her with their indifference. Julie's heart conveyed a need for unity, for a sense of solidarity that seemed forever divided, as she followed the lines of her broken childhood. Her journey was only getting going, each nervous step leading her closer to knowing the complex details of her own past and the difficult times she was going to have to overcome. Among these broken stars, there was an unwritten story waiting to be shown, a story linked with durability, longing, and a constant desire for accuracy. Chapter 2: Echoes of Shanghai. Shanghai streets were a symphony of past eras dancing together, telling stories of a city on a brink of change. The era of the 1930s presented a rich fabric of combinations. Beautiful silk gowns contrast with the fast-paced progress. Classic tea houses tower above magnificent ballrooms filled with the sounds of transformation. Shanghai, with its towering things reaching high into the sky, had a strange charm that pulled schemers and artists into its captivating embrace. The pulse of the town reflected the desires people would seek their fortune in the shifting tides of time, flowing to the beat of determination. Immersed in this embroidery of opposites, Julie felt the lively energy of the city taking into her being. She walked through the busy streets, where smells of hot tea and incense mingled together, and where children's laughter mixed with whispers of secrets being exchanged in dark recesses. She saw the clash of past and present in Shanghai's conflict. Of social fabric, old actions respecting elders opposed the attraction of Western values infecting the capital. It was a world where the new and the old crashed, where fervent voices of progress lived with the strange sounds of earlier times. Julie took in the many faces of the city, from the sparkle of the Bund to the curves of the older town. Every tower and a mixture of cobble, every secret passage and wide highway, held a piece of Shanghai's history, a tale intertwined with the sparkling promise of an uncertain future. Shanghai had a lasting impression on Julie, giving her a feeling of being a part of a place that changed all the time and where memories of the past mixed perfectly with the music of progress. Julie breathed with the city, mixing herself into Shanghai's story and standing on the border of an unseen experience. Chapter 3: Fragments of Love. Julie got stuck in the beautiful yet stormy waltz of love's pieces in the complex dance of hearts. The start was marked by the buzz of joy and the silent vows made under Shanghai's starry sky. A short-lived love took root, creating tales among the lovely city garden's blossoms. Their relationship was a delicate mosaic of sensitive actions and sidelong glances, with each moment adding value to the larger picture of their growing love. However, in the midst of their beautiful moments together, holes began to appear, a disturbing note in their love's music. A dark cloud of betrayal appeared to take over their happy marriage. Values became masks for secrets, and trust pulled away at the foundation of their once optimistic relationship. Once filled with the passion of a newly found love, Julie's heart was now heavy with disappointment. The broken pieces of their relationship were everywhere, broken promises that mirrored the broken parts of her own childhood. The bitter taste of sorrow poured over Julie as the sound of their love affair disappeared into Shanghai's narrow streets. However, a resilience, a will to piece together the pieces of her failed dreams and manage the difficulties of love in a world full of both charm and deceit remained within the broken bits of her heart. Julie found herself at the crossroads between strength and pain, which is haunted by the echo of a broken heart. Her broken romance had left an assembly of lessons in its wake, putting in her soul a fresh knowledge of the complexity that underlie issues of the heart. Shanghai carried the pieces of love's rejection with her as it beat around her, each one a symbol of her developing strength and an example of the delicate beauty found in the complex variety of the human heart. Chapter 4: Amidst Changing Tides. Julie had to deal with the changing social tides as Shanghai's environment changed with the tides. Driven by the winds of change, the city surged forward like a river's changing currents. Julie's inner struggle became apparent in the stormy environment created by the encounter of advancement with time-honored customs and practices. Julie saw a cultural transformation taking place in the city among its always changing tides. A society that was struggling to determine itself as it matched tradition and modernity. Shanghai's skyline, which was once covered with the structural relics of antique wisdom, was now shaped by the West, showing the city's flexibility to change. Julie was carried by these waves of change, each one changing the way she saw the world. She found herself involved in a storm of opposing ideas and social norms as the charm of a new age met with traditions of the past. She saw a dispute between generations as she moved through the busy streets, a respect for the past that was at odds with an ambition for a future free from the attachments of custom. The changing urban landscape reflected Julie's fight within, expressing her need for safety in an ever-changing world. In the midst of these changing waves, Julie attempted to balance herself, find comfort in the flowing currents, and create her own path through the disorder. Shanghai began to represent her own journey because it was a city that changed all the time, allowing her to change with the times and find strength in the face of numerous shifts in her life. Chapter 5: Whispers of Tradition. Julie experienced the understated strength of tradition in the whispering of Shanghai's lanes and the silent conversations of its tea businesses. Even as the city continued its continuous march towards progress, age-old traditions maintained like fine silk threads woven into the structure of daily existence. Julie got an idea of Shanghai's soul through the rites and rituals that have been passed down through the ages. An embroidery of traditions that respect the past, pay respects to relatives, and contain an understated beauty that survives despite the winds of change. Julie became lost in the sounds of history as she saw the graceful drinking ceremonies and the deft motions of Tai Chi practitioners in the parks at first light. The stories of the elderly bounced through time, creating bright pictures of a Shanghai rooted in tradition and rich history. Julie could feel the strain, though, a fine line between clinging to the past and giving in to the pull of advancement. Amid these whispers, the dispute between the historical and present day pulled at the heart of the city, and Julie felt the same way she wanted for roots in a world that was always moving forward. Julie discovered comfort and stress in the whispers of tradition. She felt the pull of a changing world while longing for the familiar grip of familiarity. Shanghai's eternal tradition became a reflection of her own identity search, providing her with a sense of security in the face of changing times and her own goals. Chapter 6. Entangled Hearts. Julie became caught up in a tangle of linked hearts in a forest of feelings. Like complex knots, relationships developed and broke amid the bright backdrop of Shanghai's changing social order. The cycle of passion and sensitivity in the city's pulse matched the complexities of love, creating an embroidery of linked destiny. Julie walked a maze of emotions while tangled in the strands of need and want, each encounter leaving a long-lasting mark on her path. Every encounter was a new chapter in the music of her life, and her heart danced to the beat of short-lived loves and meaningful bonds. She came across spirits whose channels crossed hers in the attractive beauty of the city, their hearts beating in accord and discord at the same time. Relationships came and went, each leaving a mark, a line of paint on the surface of her life. However, the complexity of human connection was hidden beneath the beauty of these mixed hearts. Moments of bliss mixed with the pain of goodnight, feelings of devotion mixed with the sting of treachery. Julie's hold of the complexities of love was painted in a tile, with each knot, when tied or relaxed, carrying its own tale. Julie learned the courage that comes from managing the complex web of human emotions and the delicate beauty of weakness in the middle of linked hearts. Julie's heart was like Shanghai's skyline, sparkling with the promise of limitless opportunities, continually searching for that elusive balance between independence and closeness, tangled in an array of links. Chapter 7. Glimmers of Hope. Julie found the faint but bright rays of hope in the center of Shanghai's always changing environment, woven together by the ambiguities of life. These were times that broke through the darkness of suffering and shone a shining light on her journey, serving as a reminder of courage in the face of hardship. There were pockets of clarity and happiness among the stormy waves of her experiences, like stones sparkling in the sunlight. They were the quiet walks along Suzhou Creek in quiet, the welcoming glow of a dawn putting its golden hue over the city skyline, and the moments of smiling shared with newly made friends in busy tea houses. Julie found pleasure in this flash of hope, a break from the storms that often enveloped her. They led her through the maze of doubts and hints of approaching change. They were shards of peace amid the disorder. These rays of confidence weren't startling connections, but rather understated whispers of support, a comforting shoulder during dark moments, a smile shared among responsibilities. They served as a reminder that even in the thick of the fast pace of the city and her own tests, there were times when peace and satisfaction could be found. When Julie embraced these short-lived moments, she came to understand their profound significance as a structure to the human spirit's strength and capacity for happiness in the face of suffering. She found the fortitude to deal with life's challenges in the glances of hope, embracing every ray of light as a lighthouse leading her through the confusing maze of life. Chapter 8. Shattered Illusions. In the chapter Shattered Illusions, Julie faced the hard reality among a collage of dreams and realities. When faced with the unshakable power of reality, her dreams, goals, and ideas of certainty dissolved like beautiful pottery. In all of its appearances, betrayal evolved into a vicious architect of sorrow. Once loved trust broke like glass, spreading shards of broken faith in its wake. Promises that were believed to have reinforced relationships now lay in ruins, their foundations carved by truthfulness and dishonesty. Shanghai was a mirror image of Julie's broken dreams, a sparkling facade covering cracks beneath the surface of a vast city. The street's vibrant nature belied the truths that lurked under the surface, reflecting information that changed Julie's earlier ideal perspectives. The broken pieces of her ideals served as a heartbreaking reminder of the softness of hopes and the harsh reality that sometimes hid behind them. Following the crushing loss of these false hopes, Julie found herself standing among the ruins of her own hopes, dealing with the profound sorrow. But among the destruction, she found a newfound resilience, the knowledge that one might find the will to start over, to reconsider and to accept the difficult facts that were in front of her from the dirt of her hopes. Through the sounds of broken hopes, Julie discovered an unexpected recovery boiling inside of her. Even though it was horrible, the pieces of her broken dreams became the building blocks for her reconstruction. They were both a sign of her determination and a chance to start over, but with the knowledge she had learned from the dust of her broken hopes. Julie, too, accepted the healing power concealed in the dirt as Shanghai carried on with its song of change, ready to weave a new story out of the broken bits of her own ideals. Chapter 9, Journey of Self-Discover. This chapter was a turning point in her life. It was a journey within, where she searched for truths hidden beneath layers of personal hardships and cultural expectations. Discovering the little-known treasures of the city turned into an image for Julie's self-examination. She visited abandoned directions, finding aspects of herself in the sounds of the city's active pulse and old beauty. Every step was a discovery, showing facets of her nature like the fine folds of beautiful objects. Julie looked for times of silence in the midst of a noisy city, finding comfort in reflection. Her story was painted onto a canvas of self-awareness by combining all of her past events, broken dreams, and fortitude developed through hardship. The process of self-discovery was not a straight path. Rather, it was a variety made of strands from reflection and discovery. It was a journey of courage and weakness, a quest to recover the pieces of her identity that disappeared among the noise of her own problems and society expectations. Julie started to accept her complexity in this chapter and found strength in facing up to her weaknesses. Her self-discovery journey proved to be a brave act, showing her ability to move through the web of her own spirit and embrace each hue that made up the complex picture of her identity. Chapter 10, Resilience in Reflection. In the last chapter, Resilience in Reflection, Julie looked back at the collage of events that had shaped her as she stood at the tip of her journey. Every bit of her story, every turbulent moment and quiet one, came together to form a homage to determination, a picture of her unchanging character in the face of change. Shanghai, an urban area that was always changing, captured Julie's growth in herself, providing a backdrop for her victories and defeats. She observed a mirrored strength amid its shaping skyline, a reminder that strength and changes were at the core of transformation. Julie had the courage to acknowledge the broken parts of her history in silence, understanding that the core of her development existed in the broken hearts and destroyed dreams. Her path of self-discovery had shown her the knowledge gained from establishing life's challenges, as well as the beauty of flexibility. As the story came to an end, Julie understood that accepting the mosaic that her breaks had produced over trying to fix them was the key to her journey to complete. She was ready to move forward with her newfound clarity and her constant will to embrace life's uncertainties as she stood there, a living example of grit and commitment. The last chapter marked a beginning as well as an end. Julie carried lessons learnt from affection, sorrow, and self-discovery, as well as the echoes of Shanghai and the whispers of tradition. Prepared with determination and reinforced by her reflection, she opened a fresh section, able to manage life's always changing terrain with beauty, courage, and a never-ending. Key learnings. Little Reunions is a story that contains important lessons. Understanding determination in the face of hardship is one important lesson learned. Julie's path displays how resilient people can be in the face of treachery, cultural shifts, and disappointments. The story promotes the value of recovery by highlighting how one can construct strength, insight, and a greater sense of self from the broken pieces of tragedy. The book also explores the complexities of verification and the search for a sense of belonging. Julie's examination of love, social norms, and cultural transformations reflects how everybody searches their identity in a world that is changing quickly. The story stresses the complex interactions between past and present, highlighting the challenges, disagreements, and final conclusion that result from balancing both of these forces. In the end, it tells us that the path to self-discovery is one of accepting one's complex nature and making peace with past hurts, which is admiring the combination of events that make up one's life. Thanks for tuning in. For more enlightening content and a detailed summary, visit www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's inspire and empower each other. Subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your friends and family.